Hello and welcome back to this episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And as you can see in the background, or cannot, now I can see it a little bit better, is always like a little bit of fucked up thing, because always I just, go to another window and click on it and just practically engage with it. The whole just view of the video itself kinda changes. I do not know why, but it kind of is like, what it is, like, just now again. So this is definitely fucked up. But as you can see in the background right now, we are going through Girl Boss, because I actually went through another thing, tomorrow or yesterday actually, because I actually just really finished all the books I just, had to do, which is always quite a great thing if I do just kind of, finish all the books in quite under 4 or 5 episodes, because I do not want to take too much time just going through one singular thing, because I kind of feel, first of all, that a lot of people might be not interested in going through the same shit over and over and over again, and second of all, it is also something that I particularly don't really enjoy. Sometimes, there were books that I was just like, okay, I'm pretty fucking happy that I've just gone through this right now and I'm fucking finished. But yeah, we will go ahead with Girl Boss, and this is actually, if I remember correctly, but I just will, if I just go out of the window, it's always like fucking with it, because, if I remember correctly, this is actually one of the books that's, quite popular nowadays, or just, really in the now on Amazon especially, and therefore I'm just looking it up on Amazon so that I can actually see, okay. I'm sorry for doing this, but I'm quite interested in it. No, it's actually not. But nevertheless, I think we will go just through it, because it is actually on the paulminus.com website, and so I think this is actually something that's kind of worth going through. And second of all, I think this is just something about girls, and maybe someday some girls maybe even just go through my shit, and they will just probably be pretty happy that they actually see something that is from a female author, from someone who is just, a girl, who just really is successful, or just made something that got pretty successful. And I think it is this. So yeah, I think I'll just go through it, even though I do not, really know if this is something that's giving me any value or giving you any value. But I will just, go through it, and if there's nothing just too much in terms of value, I will totally add something to it. So this is not something that's so difficult for me. I just could add, more value, and I'll just try hard to even provide more value as the summary is even given. So #GirlBoss is written by Sophia Amoruso, the successful owner of popular brand Nestigil. She tells the story of her road to becoming a girl boss, and aims to teach you how to learn from your own mistakes and from the other people's mistakes, to help you realize when to quit and when to ask for more, to encourage you to ask more questions, and when to either follow the rules or rewrite them. A guide becoming a boss from a woman's perspective that is as equally relevant in the man's world. And I think, it's pretty nice to just read something that's, from a woman, because I've only just been reading some things about men, and just hearing something from a woman and from a woman's standpoint on is just something new. And something new is always kind of great, and always something kind of, relevant to go through, definitely. And my hair, yes, you know what? No, it's the wrong side. I will do it like this. Yes. Just because I can. No, just joking. So into the introduction. So who is the summary for? This book is essentially a guide to becoming a boss from a woman's perspective that is equally relevant in the man's world. This book is a great read for women and men alike looking for some guidance in a near adapting business work. in the ever-adapting business work, Amoruso tells the story of becoming a girl boss and aims to teach you how to learn from not only your own mistakes, but also others people's mistakes. Amoruso, or I'm just very, very sorry if I just pronounced it, the wrong way, but I do not know. So, please be aware of that. Shows you how to realize when it is time to quit and when you should be fighting for more. She encourages you to ask more questions and when it's important to follow the rules and when it's important to not to. About the author, American Sophia, or whatever it is actually pronounced in English, Amoruso started an online eBay store at the age of 22 where she sold vintage clothing named Nastgal Vintage. The Nasty Gal empire was born, moving on to be a global fashion label and retailer. Dubbed one of the fastest growing companies in 2012 by Inc. magazine and named one of the richest self-made women by Forbes magazine. After a few years of struggling, Nasty Gal has since closed its stores, but this book doesn't lose any of its effect. The story of Nasty Gal is still as inspirational as ever. Netflix released a comedy series based on a 2013 book, #Girlboss, and has been well received. It's the same thing to just, tell a little story. I just recently watched with my girlfriend the film, what is it actually called? The Wolf of Wall Street, yeah. And first of all, I've been talking about it before, so if you just, have seen this other episode or have just, heard to it or listened to it actually, then I'm very sorry. You can just skip the next, maybe 1 minute and you will totally see if I just talk about something completely different afterwards. Then just go a little bit back again and you will totally be, where you want to be. But I watched this film. First of all, I was like, okay, this is a film about money, because I generally do not like to watch films because I kind of feel like, okay, this is not something that kind of gives any value to me or just provides any value for me, or this is also something that's kind of wasting my time in some way. So I do get that a lot of people need the leisure time. I some sort of do not quite need it. I just put it in between just subconsciously by not doing or not being as effective as I should be. And yeah, well, but what's leisure time? My leisure time would actually be reading a book that I'm just have laying beside my bed and that I should actually read, but I haven't been, doing it for, I think, 3 days now, even though I just said to myself, okay, every day I have to read 10 pages at least, but it is something like, I'm just then being like, okay, more sleep or reading the book, and then I always decide for more sleep because I'm just very, very lacking sleep. This is something you should not do, and something that therefore I just, adapted my rules and adapted, the whole thing with the books. So therefore I just don't read it in the now and just, try to read it somewhere when I do just have the time, and or just also when I want to, or also when I feel like, okay, I would watch, too many videos right now on YouTube or some other shit that's not that, not that providing value for me, and then I would probably just go to the book and read it. But in the film, the first few things they just introduced was just being a fucker and fucking with all the investors and fucking with all the people, just, in terms of trying and or actually selling them any fucking stocks, in the end, and it is penny stocks, but actually fucking selling them any stocks they can just because of making money, and not actually giving them a great stock, but actually making money from the money they get because they just, bought it as a broker. So yeah, at the end it's just really escalated and they really just got a lot of money through bullshitting with people, and the bigger the company got, the more people actually just some kind of bought, their stocks, or the better they got, whatever, it could be the same, even it could be, both at the same time. But at the end I was just only fucking with the people, which is definitely something that I do not enjoy, and really just build up some hate in me, some kinda. I tried to just reduce it because I was like, this is only a film and this is just it is actually not a fictional story, but it's still a great movie and you should totally watch it, even though there is some kind of unnecessary, just a lot of naked skin, to be honest, just all the fucking time. And but I just really like the language. They just are swearing all the time and whatever. It's not like, okay, they're the same like me and whatsoever, but I kind of enjoy it, and it's maybe just my humor. I don't know. So yeah. So in the summary, we will first examine what Amoruso thinks it takes to be a successful girl boss, and discuss why she believes those shitty jobs you do at high school are so important. We will discuss her thoughts on rules, balance, and when to spend your money and when to save it. Next, we will summarize the importance of magical thinking and why being an introvert is not the end of the world. We will wrap up the support with a discussion about the process of getting a job and what to do if you're the hirer or the hirer, or just the employer actually. So I'm very sorry if I'm just spitting all the time around, but I just eat cashews. It's not a nut, this is the case, but I only know how it's called in German, to be honest. Never mind. So I just eat a few cashews, and all the time, every single time when I'm eating something before I'm recording, there's always such a lot of fluid in my fucking mouth, and this just is pissing me on, but I should not complain too much because it's just a very great time. I can just record this episode now. I'm pretty happy that I can record it, and I'm happy to serve you with something and serve myself with something, and I will go on. So you want to be a girl boss. Amoruso explains that a girl boss is so much more than someone who runs a business. They are in charge of their own lives and they get what they want, but not due to luck, because they work hard, they fight when they need to. A girl boss is capable of accepting responsibility and taking control when necessary. Amoruso explains that a girl boss is someone who knows when rules need to be followed and when they need to be broken. That honesty, is it actually called honesty or honestly, or is it just even some kind of different thing even? So that honesty is a more valuable trait than perfection. And a girl boss knows when being serious is important, but they aren't going to take themselves too serious, which is actually something that is important in my point of view, because just being too serious with yourself and just, taking every single joke somebody maybe is taking or making about you, just in a very, very jokey way, and you're just like, fuck off, man, and just don't be that rude to me and whatever. This is first of all not fun for the other people and not fun for yourself, because, I do quite feel like, okay, it's always in terms of, your perspective and how you deal with certain situations. You could deal with, being, laughed at. You can deal it with like just being rude to the other person and just telling them to fuck off. Or you could be like, okay, this fucker is just telling some shit about me. I'm gonna laugh about it because it's not actually true. And, if this is really some kind of irony, then, it's totally clear to not take it too serious. So you're going to take over the world and change it in the process, and you're a badass, therefore. So 3 tips becoming a hashtag girl boss, and I will always leave the hashtag out because it kinda is not that fluent as I want it to be. So all the time when I'm talking about girl bosses, there's actually a hashtag before it. Just to let you know, for the podcast listeners who don't actually see what I'm just talking about quite. The first one is question everything. And the whole question thing is definitely something that I'm quite underlining and pointing out all the fucking time myself. It is important because questions, as a, whole is something that is so powerful. I didn't even realize before I was just, really talking about this shit and really just thinking about it as well. So I really came to the conclusion that questions are so powerful because you just then understand things way more. And I kind of found out, or I just some kind of recognized that if you just understand some things, first of all, you will get a little calmer because, you just, understand it, and you will just, look at it at a different angle and in a different way. And this is something, good quite all the time, I hope. And the second one is, have done anything about your life and habits that might be holding you back. Totally true. If there's anything that's holding you back, just, try to deal with it, try to change it in a way that it is not actually kind of holding you back, or sometimes I think you even just have to push it out of your life, even if it's just some kind of person, or just some other thing that you might actually pretty much like. But if you really notice, and if you just really recognize that this certain person, or this certain trait of yours, or this certain object, maybe it's your phone, maybe it's your your PlayStation, or whatever you have in your Xbox, just abandon it, even if it's hard, or at least try to limit the time you're interacting with these certain things. If it's people, if it's objects, if it's apps, maybe. The third one is learn to create your own opportunities. A hashtag girl boss is someone who is in charge of her own life. She gets what she wants because she works for it. And this is something, totally. A lot of people, and all these great people that are working so hard, and they are just able to work so hard because they actually like what they are doing. This is the whole point, but they are just really obsessed with what they are doing. Just really. For real, they're so obsessed with the fucking thing that they are doing that they will do it for 12 hours straight, 14 hours straight, even though they some kind of consider it as work. It might be even the same thing with Jeff Bezos, even though I'm quite thinking about him in this way, some kind of differently, because he actually says himself that he isn't just some kind of workaholic. He still works quite a lot, and that's just the truth, but his work isn't his only part of his life. So he's definitely enjoying other things as well. So therefore, he's just still working very fucking hard, and he has. Maybe it was part of his life, but just his interest just changed because, you grow older, and, you get older, or whatsoever. and yeah. So shitty jobs. I think before I even read this whole article or read just this whole paragraph, just working a fucking shitty job is something valuable, because you do just get the perspective of doing something that you're actually not liking, and actually something that's drowning your fucking soul, and something that makes you so fucking angry that you would just really like to not do it anymore. Your whole life long, do it, never anymore, and so on. I think therefore just having the perspective and having the contrast to actually doing something that's, creating a passion in you, or that's actually just some kind of, valuable to you, or whatever it is, just to create the contrast and or the perspective. So we have all had at least one shitty job in our lives, whether it be a paper run, or the night shift at McDonald's, or the dishwasher at a restaurant. It's not glamorous, but it got you your first paycheck, and that's what counts. The shitty jobs make the good ones more meaningful. And totally, this is just what I meant by saying, they just create the contrast, they just create the perspective. And so Amoruso explains that the likelihood of landing your perfect job or walking into a successful career first time is highly unlikely. And when you do reach that point in your life, you're only going to appreciate it more when you compare it to the shitty jobs you did first. Totally. So without those experiences, you might not realize just how good you have got it. Totally. And it's always the same thing with people in the first world countries. They are just having running water, just having enough food, just having enough clothes, just having education, just having your fucking smartphones, just having your fucking laptop, just having notebook even, actually, just having everything that they kind of feel like as just it is normal isn't fucking normal. It's not, totally. There are a lot of fucking people, especially children out there, who are poor as fuck. In every single, there are so many areas. We're just so fortunate that, we are living in, maybe you're living in, Europe as well, or you're just, living in North America. You are just so fucking fortunate that you are in this fucking position. And still, a lot of people, first of all, complain about their just life being not good, not that great, being boring or whatsoever. But I do nothing about it. And they don't see it, they don't have the perspective. They don't have the perspective of actually being in a shitty place. And a shitty, shitty space, or just space in terms of actually some kind of period of time. Not space in terms of you are just, your flat is looking like shit. Because, no, mine isn't that much, but it could definitely be better. But still a lot of people just, do feel like, okay, it's normal. And I just think about it, as a lot of people just mean it is normal to have running water and all the other shit that I talked about. But it's definitely not. And a lot of people, just, I think even the majority of the people do not have as much as you, if you're just living in a first world country, aren't having. Totally not. They even don't have, I don't know, they don't have jobs, which is, something that is quite common in just really, first world countries as well. But yeah. So I think even though you might be in a shitty place, even though you're just in a first world country, it is just way better than being in a shitty country and in a shitty fucking place or space. So Amoruso points out that that at each shitty job you probably learn something useful that you take to your new job, whether it be a new perspective or a better understanding of diversity, or the fact that you can get this job done. Regardless of how shitty it is, you have the ability to dig deep with necessary. Schooling. It's assumed that you attend school between the ages of 5 to 18. I actually attend school to 19 actually, because next year, which is my last year, I'm going to turn 19, which is fairly common in my country or in my school systems, that you actually go to school, either you're until I think 14, and then you just learn a job and then do a job, or you go to school actually until you're 18, when you're just attending some kind of a is it educational school? I don't know. So if it's some kind of a higher school, it might be a high school. I don't know. It probably is a high school. I never knew this, and I don't know it yet. Just all these kind of examples with what is my school system and what's the equivalent in the American school system or in the English school system or whatsoever. But I'm attending a school that's 1 year longer, but therefore I do just learn a job as well. So I do have the ability to study afterwards in the university, and I do just have a job, and I will get a title as well if I'm just working in this job for 2 years at least. I think then I just could get mine, if I remember correctly. I hope I'm saying nothing like shit, but yeah, so I think this is a pretty great way to go, actually having a job afterwards and being able to do actually something that's, worthwhile, just, putting in the extra year, but actually also having the ability to just, being able to study on a university, which you wouldn't actually be able to if you're just going out of school when you're 14, and if you're just learning a job, then you do not have the ability, most of the time, sometimes you have, to really study at university. So ages of 5 to 18 that you fit in, do your homework and leave with some qualifications. However, Amoruso points out that schools treat students as a one size fits all, when in fact some students are just not wired to succeed in the school system. And if that's you, you might feel as if there's something wrong with you, but it's totally not. It always comes up to who you are. This is always the thing. And I get what she is actually saying in this just post or in this just book, that school just really prepares for us like being all the same person, like she just actually pointed out quite before. But it's kind of wrong, because there are just people who actually don't like to go to school, which is a fact, and they can't learn in this environment of school. It is just fact. Then there are people who just because they can't learn in school, they just learn like to learn when they are alone, or they like to learn with their friends, or like to learn when they're just reading through books on their own in some kind of library or whatsoever. They're just the really crazy things that I think that people are just liking to do when they are learning. But there are also people who enjoy a school system. I do not know if I just like school because of it is cool, or because I can do my design work there, or just because of the people. I do still think that people are a big part of why I actually like school so much, because these people just make me happy. These people just make me laugh all the fucking day long. And this is, I think, just the way you want it to be in your job as well, or just in your life as well. Just having the people around you that are actually making you happy rather than making you sad or whatsoever, and just being great to you and just being a great contribution to your life. And this is, I think, the way you should be going, and the way, it should be for every single one. Because if it would be this way, I think a lot of people, if they actually like it, because there are even some people, I think, that do not like to be accompanied by just anyone, but I think most of them do. And so I kind of think like it's, a pretty good way or pretty good thing if everybody would have it. And I think like, a lot of just mental health issues wouldn't be there if, everybody, would have such nice people around him or her as I'm having quite, and I'm pretty fucking grateful for that I'm just like, having people around me most of the time that are quite just not like-minded most of the time, but they're just positive. Yeah, positive just is a, good hit, I think. But still, a lot of people just, maybe they're reading. Maybe they're just, reading magazines. Others maybe reading books. Then there are people who just like to talk to other people so that they learn something from them because they know that their knowledge is important for them. Or they just like people that are, people like to listen to audiobooks as well. There are a lot of things and a lot of factors and a lot of different styles of learning for a lot of people. And therefore, it's just common for me, or it just, makes sense that it is obvious that, a class of, let's say, 25 people, there might be 1, 2, 3, or 5 people who might not be able to just really learn in this environment. And they rather learn just at home, being alone, and whatsoever. Yeah. So, and if that's you. So when the reality is that the school system is generic and there's no way everyone is going to thrive in the same environment. So girl boss, if you suck at school, don't let it kill your spirit. It doesn't mean that you are never going to succeed at anything, it just means that your talents lie elsewhere, so take the opportunity to seek out what you're good at and find a place where you can flourish. And I think this is this really thing is just what I always think, even though they are just students who aren't good in school because they either don't like the school, they don't like the people, they don't like the environment. It doesn't matter, they just don't like the school. But what I always think about is that, they just are able to do something else. Even though, which is totally true, that a lot of people think about them like they are dumb, they can't do anything, they're just, shitty people, they are not, intelligent or whatever, A lot of things are or have to do with some kind of common sense thinking, maybe, or just with logics. Of course, this just is the thing, but a lot of people still just aren't interested in school as well. So this is also another factor. But just really please, if you're such a person, if you just know such a person, tell them that they should actually go and just, find out what they're actually talented in. A lot of people who are not good in school are just good at sports. This is just some kind of, maybe it's a stereotype. It's definitely a stereotype, but there are a lot of people, and these people should just get athletes if they want to, or just get athletical models, or whatever there is. They should just do it what's just really fitting their talents and fitting what they actually like. Because I think most of the time someone is just liking something, they're probably good at it as well. This is, I think, the same thing with me. I like doing sports, and not to be just really arrogant or something, I'm also good at them in general. I like sports, I love sports, and I'm actually just really hoping for the summer to come very, very soon so that I can actually fucking take my bike and drive around like 2 hours a day and actually make a trip around. Let's see. The longest trip I did with my bike was actually 18.64 miles, I think. Something around that. It's not that much, or 32 yards. 32 point... Is it... No, it's 32,808.4 yards, I think. Which is, but by miles, 18, or actually 19 miles is actually quite a bit, I think. I do not know how people just think in miles, but in kilometers, it's just, totally something, with the car, you would just take, I think, half an hour Would you? If you're just taking the highway, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. So are rules necessary? Yeah. So what do you think? I'm pretty interested what you are thinking of all these things. So if you're just, this is something that I haven't pointed out yet, in the pretty recent, episodes I did. If there's something you're thinking like, okay, I talk total bullshit, just tell me. Just, DM me on, Instagram and all other platforms you can find, and just hit me up and tell me, okay, you just did talk shit, and just please correct it, and whatsoever, or just tell me your opinion about all these things that I'm talking about. I'm pretty interested in what you are thinking, because it is just important, and also this is just really something that other people could contribute of. If you're just telling your opinion in the description, not in the description, but in the comment section, other people can benefit from that, and definitely they can, because then just know, okay, they know first of all the opinion of the author. They know the opinion of the author of this article. They know my opinion, and then they know your opinion, and they know their opinion. So they have 5 fucking opinions, which is definitely a good thing, because it always depends on how you look at other people's opinions and whether you just value them or not. But I think in general, other just people's opinions are or can be important or can be valuable, if you like to, if you would like to work with them, if you're just, or just to listen to them and think alike and evaluate them, okay, could there be something about it or not? Could actually kind of even improve your business, improve yourself, and then whatsoever. Yeah. But yeah, I do think, did I read it through? No, I didn't. So rules are everywhere. You literally can't escape them, and regardless of how hard you try, it's impossible to consistently stick to the rules. Amoruso explains that some rules are there for a reason and need to be abided. For example, paying for items rather than stealing, which totally makes sense. However, there are rules that are enforced by society that everyone seems to blindly follow without really knowing why. And these are the rules Amoruso recommends you have fun breaking. And it's totally the shit, I think. There are a lot of just rules made up by society that do not make any fucking sense. Especially in very early days of us. Not really like the Asian days, but maybe like in 1990 or something like this, 1990s. I think there were just more just society rules that were so fucking bullshit out there, and I'm very grateful that just some things turned out to be a different way today, and just being like less of a rule, or just way less rules in general. I'm very happy about that, because just people fought in such a conservative way just back in the days, which is nothing good, I think. Every person should do what they like to do, whether it's being homosexual, whether it's being heterosexual, whether it's being just whatever. Everybody should just do what they like to do, totally, in this way. So in the kind of attraction way, or in the sexual way, as in the business way. If somebody wants to be a prostitute, why not? Just let them be what they want to be. Or if somebody wants to, wants to be a dentist, even though his whole family is some kind of general medicine or doctors which have a high degree and are working in Harvard, let them just fucking child be a fucking dentist because he likes it. And or just not, these are all the things that I think my parents always tell me, and I'm like, no, I just don't feel like it. It's nothing that I kind of think is true, always in terms of all these social or society rules that I just think are bullshit, that I think I just, don't want to obey them, or I just don't feel like obeying them. I quite feel like, okay, these make no sense, so why would I? And I think, we all should probably use our brains a little bit more and think about, the certain things, and evaluate if this is something for us or not. I do quite feel like a lot of people still don't do it, no matter how old they are, but especially just the very youngsters out there. So just, use your brain, just try to pretty much evaluate what's good for you, what's not good for you, what makes sense for you, what doesn't make sense for you, and do not really take all the opinions of all the people, or just really not take them as, this is true. Just being a little bit skeptical is always good, I think, just being like, okay, does this make sense? Is this actually good for me or not? So yeah. But I think this is the end of the episode. Just a really nice 35-minute episode. I hope you got something out of it, as always. And yeah, I hope you get your success, your health, your wealth, your health, your happiness in your life or something. But do not still forget about your legacy and about giving back to the people, because these two things are quite important and are quite key. I think they're just really key. It's just, I think, what a lot of people just should do a little bit more, I think. But yeah, so with that being said, I wish you have a wonderful day and or night or whatever you're doing, and I'll see you the next time. Actually today, because today will be another episode, and I'm pumped for it, and I'll see you.